Yeah. Welcome back, everybody, to the show where we shatter the silence on men's mental health. We are unfiltered, unedited, and as always, we are going raw. My name is Joey.
And I'm Eric, and we're your hosts, and welcome to Raw Minds, episode 30.
Yeah, yeah, buddy. 30 episodes. Big.
Yeah, man. This is,
Doing it big.
we were just talking about this, man. We were 30 weeks ago, man. We were just started this. It's pretty cool. Pretty fun journey, definitely. It's just getting better.
Especially when you get emails from Apple saying that we are ranking very well in Canada.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
like you
buddy.
said,
That's what we do.
we're in the Philippines and Bulgaria. That's crazy. Bulgaria. That's wild. Gotta love that.
Yeah, we're now in what, New
New
Zealand,
Zealand.
Australia,
Yeah.
Philippines,
Costa
Bulgaria,
Rica, Mexico.
Costa Rica. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about this last episode. It's just thank you so much. We really appreciate all of you. It's awesome.
We started this show, and if you guys are new to the show and just tuning in, is we're the first podcast to do on men's mental health. And, myself and Eric have lived a life of trauma and pain and attempted suicides and family loss and suffered child abuse. You name it, we've lived it. And to sit here tonight and every other week that we do this, and why we do this is to really help give back to people that's had to go through some of the things that we've gone through or is going through it now, whether it's heartbreak, suicidal thoughts and tendencies, to chronic depression, because we know that all too well. And just know that if you guys are going through it now, that there are better days on the other end. I promise you that. But that's why we're doing what we do. We feel like, we just, when we started this, that we just wanted to help people, even one person, to talk them off the ledge of the same ledge that I stood on, where I actually tried to take my own life, and to get the feedback, the people reaching out. And like I just said, Apple, saying that we are high ranking in Canada now is I'm a loss for words, man. Beyond grateful. But thank you all.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I don't think it's even kicked in that we're across seas, which is pretty powerful. It's awesome. So, thank you. Um, so yeah, man. What's uh, what's your deal, man? How are you today?
Fuck, I'm doing all right,
Yeah,
man. I'm doing all right.
nice. Good.
I'm always excited on the days that we get to do this.
Yeah,
It's not just helping others, but it's our therapy as well, right?
yeah, yeah,
And a big part of the show is to be able to talk about the pains and struggles that men go through, and people, and to be vulnerable about it, to open up, open up about it,
yeah.
because like, when you feel, you heal, right? So you got to be able to figure out the best ways to navigate through the pain and the struggles that you're going through, because we all have them. Every one of us has conflict in our lives. Every one of us has been through something,
Yep.
right? But the big part of tonight's show is the other end of that. When we are going through things and we go through, the five stages, if you will, that we've just um, touched on in the last 5 weeks, and then where do you go after that? Once you get through those phases, now it's the healing journey. Now it's finding the perspective, the positive perspectives in those negatives,
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. How about you, man? How you doing?
I'm doing excellent, man. You know, as uh as Canadians, we had a long weekend. It was Victoria Day, so got some time, a little extra time spent with the kid. Got a new desk here. Got another monitor. So also I got an arm. I'm not holding the microphone anymore in my arm. So I mean it's good. And I had a good weekend. We went out. Enjoyed the weather. Uh, I can't complain, man. I mean, except for today. Today sucked with the rain, but other than that, I mean, you need the rain, right? So yeah, it was a good day, man. I enjoyed it.
Good to hear. Man. Good to hear.
Yeah,
You try to have as many good days as possible. I mean, that's what we all strive for,
yeah,
right?
man. Exactly. I mean,
We're gonna have
y- y-
shit days and we're gonna have good days, but
yeah.
you try to have the more good days, you know.
Well, let's face it, man. Like that's what how you learn your lessons and learn is usually in the shit, right? So sometimes you need those shit days to teach you a lesson, smack you upside the head, and be like, "Hey, life is still here. Don't forget about it."
Yeah,
But
100%, buddy.
well,
100%. Well, I think we should dive right into it, man,
yeah,
and really talk about, like I said, the the finish line, if you will, coming through those stages of grief and getting through to the other side of finding that light in that tunnel when you've been hit with tragedy or heartbreak or loss or anything of basically anything that has caused you pain, and you know what I
yeah,
mean. So but the biggest thing in the traumas that we face is how do you move forward after that,
yeah,
and in those 5 stages, and everyone heals differently and everyone grieves differently, and you might be on stage 4, then stage 1, then everyone's different. But regardless, we all go through these emotions because we're human beings. And when you have something that really hurts and breaks your heart, or betrayal, or child abuse, to whatever it may be, we all feel that. We Doesn't matter how big you are, doesn't matter who you are. Right? We're human, man,
yeah,
and we've all been hit with something that really takes us to our knees.
yeah.
But again, at the end of that, it's only up to you moving forward on the path that you choose to come out on the other side. And or if you come out on the other side, and we really pray and hope, and that's why we do the show, that we can help guide and just give advice to help you get to that other side.
And raw too. Don't forget the raw, brother.
Right.
Yeah,
But the biggest thing is, it's 90% reaction to whatever it is that's happened to
yeah.
you. And it's up to you and you only on how you choose to move forward. And it's not easy, man. To believe me, I struggled in depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts for years, and it's very hard to get out of, to move forward. 1,000,000% it is. So I sympathize with that. But again, it is still up to you because nobody's coming to save you, and it's only up to you to take accountability, take responsibility, whether it was your fault or not, and pave that right path and not go down the wrong path and make your life even worse with the self medications and temporary band-aids.
Well, you know what, man? Usually, like in like this part of like someone's life, usually, after acceptance and trying to move forward and building a new life for yourself, I guess. This should be your number one leveling up because you can reinvent yourself half the time, you know, depending on the situation. But this is when, say your partner never wanted to go to, I don't know, Japan, right? But now you have the chance, like, screw it, I'm gonna go to Japan. Nothing's gonna hold me back. I'm not gonna feel bad. Not knowing that I mean, you shouldn't feel bad if someone doesn't want you to go. You should be able to do whatever you want. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, for instance, like you could do whatever you need to, you know. So, I mean, you gotta also look at the other angles. I mean, it sucks, the person's gone, I get it 100%. But at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do that's gonna change that. You have to live your life and do what you need to do to keep on going forward because you're breathing. You're still alive, you know? So you need to, like, be selfish, after you've done your grieving and all that. You need to put yourself, um, first,
Yeah.
you know? And that's when this is when you level up and you start, um, learning more about yourself. I mean, we're learning all the time, right? But this is when you start. I mean, some of the best businesses, they people have gone bankrupt, excuse me, or, like, something terrible happens to someone, and then they come out of it and they kill it because they use that strength and that inner power, turn it around and become whatever or put it to whatever they're doing and become amazing or the boss at it, you know? That's what, the mindset that we as humans should, as men as well, um, should have after all this. Definitely, I think so. Do your grieving, do however long it takes. It's okay. There's no time frame on this shit. But at some point, you need to realize that there's more to life than just sitting around and moping around. You got to live for yourself.
You're the only one holding the pen,
Yeah,
and there are thousands of empty pages that you can rewrite.
definitely.
You're the only one.
Yeah,
Grieve, like you said, like there's things that's happened to myself, to other people where, man, it is months of struggle trying to just pick your head up,
yeah,
feeling broken, shattered, depressed, stressed, anxiety. And it is the hardest thing to see past that. You will feel better, that there are better
hmm,
days, because when you're in that, man, you don't think for a second that you're going to get over this, because it's just every day you wake up, every night before you go to bed, you're slowly falling apart.
it's true.
And it's so hard to change that perspective and finding the positives in that, and to pull yourself up from that.
Yeah,
So I get it,
yeah,
we sympathize.
yeah,
But it's okay, like we always say, to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay in
yeah.
it. And if you're staying in it 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, that isn't your fault. That is not what's happened to you. So you need to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, like, I'm done feeling like this. But in order to not feel like that, you have to progress in your life and not regress. And when you start to progress in the present, you start to stop worrying about the past, because that's what your depression and your trauma has come from, is things in your past, but you're not going that way,
Yeah.
right? And that's why we sit in it, because we just keep stressing and feeling the hurt from what your wife just did to you, or the loss of your fiance, like you, for example, or the loss of my nephew or son, you know. But we sit on that, and that's why we get the way we are, is because of things that's happened in the past,
Mhm.
because we're allowing these moments in our life to affect the movements to our future. So we don't progress in the present. That's why we're not here. That's where I wasn't present, and a lot of people are not present, because we're so broken and down and thinking about what's happened to you, or what you've had to go through, that you've never tried to fix or talk about or deal with, that you're not able to progress. You're regressing,
Yeah.
right? Like the number one symptom of depression is rumination, which means you just constantly talk about and obsess about your past, right? So when you're obsessing about your past, you just carry it over the next day and the next day. But until you go and find someone to talk to, or find the tools on to try to get out of that, then nothing's going to change, and that's where people's lives start to really snowball downhill, and then the job goes, and then the relationship goes,
Mhm.
and then your kids don't want to see you, and et cetera, et cetera. But it's all about progression, and you can't allow the things that has happened to you in the past affect your future because you are the one holding the pen.
Yeah.
You have those empty pages that you can rewrite. You can break that generational trauma. You can be different than how your parents treated you or abused you or whatever it is. But it only starts with you and on you only.
Yeah. Well,
But in that healing journey is when you're coming out of that, man, I promise you, man, the way you'll feel when you put in that work to try to heal those wounds and how much your life will change is I can't even explain it.
yeah.
And that creates that clarity because we live, especially men, with such polluted minds every day. There's that backpack full of bricks that we talk about. We carry that weight every time we wake up and leave our house. And that backpack is so heavy that that's all you can think about is the weight that you're carrying. And that's us breaking piece by piece every day. And instead of trying to release bricks out and drop the weight, we just keep adding them.
Yeah.
So,
Well, what's a big thing too, man, is like when you're trying to go through your journey and you got like so-called friends, and either they're giving you like the bad advice or just, just not even being there for you, oh, suck it up or whatever, you know, or like, I mean, or they have a solution for your problems. I mean, and the reason why I'm bringing this up because our mutual friend here, good buddy Eric from Jersey, he said, right, he told me today, actually, we were on the phone and we're talking, and he said, that, it's funny that some people just they think that they got a solution for, like, your problems. Say you're like everybody has a solution for everybody else's problems, but never a solution for their own. And it makes sense, man. It's true. Exactly what he said is true. Everybody's too busy trying to take care of everybody else's problems, and they got I mean, not take care of them, but I mean, stick their nose in other people's problems when they should be dealing with themselves. And I find that it's very toxic, definitely. When you have people around you like that, when you're trying to grow, those type of people are just gonna bring you down.
oh, a million percent, right? And in your growth and in your healing journey and your healing process, coming out of whatever it is that you've had to deal with or you struggle with, who you have around you is a huge part in that,
Yeah.
right? So like if you're depressed and sad all the time, but you keep hanging out with these people and they go drinking every weekend and they're partying every weekend and they're going here, that's just a temporary band-aid and a distraction,
Yeah.
right? But you're doing it because you're not thinking about your own problems. But yet you don't realize long term you're creating a lot more
Yeah.
problems because now that's where the alcoholism starts to come in. Because now I can sleep if I drink all night till I black out. Now if I go out every night, but then the more problems come because now I've also blowing through all the money that I have, and now you're missing your rent. Now you're doing this because you're spending it on here because you're using that to mask what's really going on
Yeah.
inside. So the people that you surround yourself is a huge part of your healing journey
Yeah.
to come out of that. Then sometimes you pick the wrong people because you're hurting and it's like you're just settling with friends even, not just relationships but with
Yeah.
friends. And they're doing the same shit every weekend. They're doing the same, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it'll bring you right back down.
Well, misery loves company,
And
man,
it's
like we say.
impossible for you to grow and get better
Mhm.
if you stay in that with those type of people that don't add value to your life but take it away.
So
because you're refusing to face yourself in the mirror and admit that you messed up or that you are messed up. So instead, you just block it out by jumping from one relationship to the other, or you're going out every single weekend or during the week, and you're doing this and you're doing that when all you're doing is prolonging your healing
yeah,
process.
what's toxic shit?
It's toxic.
Yeah.
100% it is.
Well, let me ask you this: what would you say to date right now is be one of your biggest accomplishments from something that was terrible that you went through, or life changing, altering, whatever it may be? What would you say would be the biggest thing that came from it?
Actually, it's funny you asked me that because I was talking to a friend of mine at work today about this.
Nice.
Is I think when you've been through, we all, like I said, we all go through things. Some people one big traumatic event in their life, and then some people 30. Right? For me, for example, I've been through it since I was 5 years old with child abuse and except. But
Yeah.
as it goes on and you get older, you find the tools on your own if you never got the help to trying to help you navigate a little bit better. It still sucks, man. It still hurts. It's
Mhm.
still painful. Breakups, heartbreak, all that shit.
Yeah.
You're human.
Yeah.
But in all of that, and let's say example, like we talked about a few times on the show, when I didn't leave my room for 5
Yeah.
days. I ate one orange and I lost 30 pounds in 6 days. And when I was in that headspace of so messed up, so down, my biggest accomplishment would be the amount of effort from that. And that was my breaking point
Mhm.
where I didn't want to feel like that ever again. And I knew that was the first time I looked at myself in 40 years and I'd be like, you know what? That was your fault. You need to fix this. You're doing this to yourself. You keep doing this to yourself in relationships, et cetera, et cetera. And I just started to write it down. I broke it down. And my biggest accomplishment was realizing that, looking at myself in the mirror, the hard as it was, and I flipped it. I didn't drink. I didn't choose to distract myself. No dating apps, no nothing. And my biggest accomplishment was facing myself
Mhm.
to admit my wrongs. I reached out to exes just to say, "Hey, I haven't talked to you in 3 years, and I'm really sorry for what happened. I hope you're doing well." Just to make amends,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
even
yeah.
with old friends when and I was never intentional because I've never been that bad guy, but I've done a lot of wrong things, and I didn't even realize I was doing it because I was so messed up.
Well, I mean, you do bad things, but it doesn't mean you're a bad person, right? We just make stupid
No,
mistakes, right? That's as shitty as it is.
but the biggest thing is I was doing it to myself. I was creating causing my own
Yeah.
heartbreaks. I was causing I was hurting people along the way
Yeah.
unintentionally.
Yeah.
But my biggest coming from that, and that pain was one of the worst pains, became my biggest blessing. So if you're listening and you're going through all this right now, is I promise you that the pain that you're feeling right now is a true blessing and your biggest motivator. And that pain, use it as a passport to drive you and not destroy you.
Definitely.
Because that pain at that time pushed me to not only take accountability and look at myself for the first time. I put myself in counseling for 6 months. I went every week, and it was the best thing I ever did, and I look forward to it. And I got to find things out about myself that I didn't even think that I was the problem,
Mhm.
or you know what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And in that, I've always been a gym person, but the 75 hard, we've talked about it once or twice in the past, and I just took that next year and fixed me.
Yeah.
All mental counseling. I did the 75 hard program twice. The first time was 100 days. I just kept going. And I was so dedicated and driven using that pain, that heartbreak, that depression, that mental detox, if you will. And I turned and I flipped the script and I shut the world out. basically, in that sense. And I chose and refused to ever feel like that again
Yeah.
because I lived in it for 20, 30 years of almost trying to kill myself, etc. And the list goes on. And I took that pain. So my biggest accomplishment was the biggest one was being able to look at myself and take accountability for the first time and being like, you know what, man, you need help. You did this to yourself. You're not doing it again. What are you going to do about it?
Mhm.
And I put in the work, man. So I'm beyond, you know, proud of myself. Some days, you're always hard on ourselves, but there's days where I'll have flashbacks of just me laying in my room for 5 days,
But let me stop you there,
and I'm
man.
like, oh,
I just wanna say, but you're still putting in the work too. The thing is
oh,
yeah,
million
yeah.
percent every
I'm just
day.
trying to
You have
show
to.
that, you gotta keep on going, you know?
Oh, that doesn't
Yeah,
stop. Life just keeps going. The sun's gonna shine. That doesn't
yeah,
change. And because of life, we're all gonna go through things. You're still gonna go through
yeah,
things, especially as we get
yeah.
older. But it's finding the tools, finding the right group of friends,
Balance, bro,
per
balance.
the right person in your the one the right person to date or eventually be your wife is a huge factor
Yep.
because who you pick as a partner can make or break your entire
Oh,
life.
definitely, definitely.
But in order to find that kind of person, male or female, you have to be the best version of yourself first.
Mhm.
You have to get through whatever it is that you're struggling with, whatever depression, whatever sadness and brokenness and loneliness is. You have to heal from
Yep,
that and work on that. You will never forget, but you can heal from those traumas and those pasts where you're not triggered
yep,
anymore. You'll always think about it, they'll always be there, but it's getting rid of the
yep,
triggers to set you off, to put you back, to make you take 10 steps back, and like I said, it's all about to progress in the present
yep.
and not regress.
Exactly.
Then you stop worrying about the past. The past stops affecting you as much or none at all. Like for me, like the amount of shit that I talk about, man, like a couple years ago, man, it fucked me up.
Mhm.
Now I'm an open book, no problem. Doesn't affect me. And even when I think about it and how hard of a time that was, or this and that in my life, I'm not triggered by it anymore because I
Yeah,
faced it.
you
I
dealt
talked
with it.
about it. I dealt with
Yeah,
it. But it's always going to be there 1,000,000%, just like with
yeah,
any of you guys. But it's getting rid of the triggers. It's learning to be present and progress in the present and have clarity to be present,
well,
right? So
no.
it's been a huge accomplishment to be able to get through that. But it's every day's a battle, man. You still get anxiety sometimes. You still feel down sometimes.
Mhm.
It's life.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
now I've learned some tools, and then if something comes up as we get older, people pass away, they get older. It's You're gonna see more and more of it as you get older, right?
Yeah,
So when these things happen, it's being able to know how to deal with those and finding the tools to deal with that.
yeah, I agree.
That's the biggest one, right? But when it comes to one thing I will say about the counselor is, we talk about getting the counselor, which is massive. But you also want to find that counselor that helps you break those patterns
Mhm.
in the depression and the rumination and the obsessing rather than the indulging in it,
Yeah,
right? So you got to find the counselor or the right people to talk to that'll help you break. It's a bad habit, right?
yeah, definitely.
Obsessing over something is a toxic habit. It's a bad habit. So instead of having someone talk to you and indulge in it, you want to find someone that will help you break those patterns and break that bad habit.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't find them on the first try all the time. I mean, it's gonna take a couple times to find, you gotta click with that person. But, like, on the bad habit thing, like you're saying, where you're obsessing, um, it's a known fact too, like, when you keep on thinking of, like, something bad, you're overthinking it all the time, obsessing about it. You're just causing that problem to grow bigger and bigger and bigger in your head. You got to learn how to like shut that shit right off. And that's when like if you have a hobby, and that's when you start doing like a hobby. Like I said, man, those fucking coloring books, bro. If you listen to the podcast, it's about the coloring books. Like it's just about misdirecting. It's like with kids, it's misdirecting them. You know, so it works the same with like your mindset. You start introducing good stuff into your mind. Things that you enjoy, things that you like to do. You're pushing that shit out, and that's like when, like you talked about before, when you're filling up your cup. You take a cup that's filled with shit, keep on pouring water on it. Eventually, it's all that shit's gonna get out of there, right? And that's
Yeah, and that's just like your mind,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
You start filling your mind with that positive, then all the shit in your mind starts to filter
Yeah,
out. But you have to take the steps to find the positives,
yeah,
right? And the only thing that's holding people back is the stories that they tell themselves in their head.
yeah, definitely.
That's it. It's a story that you tell yourself is the only reason why you're being held back.
You've already
That's
failed,
it.
man, before even stepping out the door. You know what I mean? Because you've already done a scenario in your head. It's like, oh no, I'm. This is gonna happen to me. This is gonna happen to me. And then boom, you've already failed. Like we said before, a boxer doesn't go in the ring saying, "I'm gonna get my ass kicked." He goes in the ring saying, "I'm gonna kick some fucking ass." Right? It's about mindset.
Well, a million percent. You have to look at it like you already have it.
Yeah.
Or if that's something you want, like
Yeah,
manifestation.
man.
I used to think that was the dumbest thing when people were like, "Oh, you got to manifest and meditate." Dude, man, when I came out of that room 2 years ago, I was doing anything and everything that I heard that was positive that might help me not feel that way.
Yeah.
And once I started with the manifesting and the meditation, game changer.
Calling the witch doctor,
100%
whatever you're doing.
game
Yeah.
game changer. I'll tell you that right
Yeah.
now. But in the
Yeah.
manifesting is you got to believe that you already have it, right? It's that feeling that you put behind it. And to some people, it's dumb as shit. But I tell you, it works,
Yeah,
man.
man.
And you hear that a lot of people talk about it until you actually try it and really, you meditate and even breath work, learning how to breathe every morning when you wake up. All these little things are such big
Yeah.
positives in coming out of that depressive state, right?
Even the food you eat.
A- And you know what? One of the
Yeah.
biggest ones for anxiety, I just watched a video on that today, is when you suffer from it, it's all gut health.
Mhm.
Anxiety, big anxiety all the time is your gut health. Now I take vitamins every day. Like I said, we mentioned the vitamin D and the magnesium. Now I'm doing the E and the B, and fuck, I got like 8 a day I'm taking, which is
The alphabet.
and literally that's what I'm taking now. And I've never been that guy, but now that I'm taking it, my thought process every day is
Yeah.
different. My anxiety is pretty much gone, and I had chronic anxiety, high anxiety disorder
That's from the magnesium, right?
just by these, just from these basic
Yeah.
vitamins. That's it.
That's crazy.
But in that, just like anyone that takes depression pills, like they're not magic pills that if you just take it and you don't have to do nothing, you're just gonna feel better. Like you still need to do things in your life to help that.
Yeah.
Just like the vitamins, just like anything else that you're taking. You can't just sit back and there's this magic pill that's gonna make you feel better. It doesn't work like
No,
that.
no.
Well, what you need to do is start filling that cup of yours and start living for yourself and doing the things that you enjoy, doing these little things that out of your routine. Change your routine.
Yeah.
That 1 degree we always talk about. You got to change that every day. You got to do something different because the direction that it'll take you in 3 months, man, you'd be like, holy fuck. If you asked me this 3 months ago, I'd be doing this job
Mhm.
or I'd be over here or dating this kind of person. I wouldn't believe you.
Scare yourself, man. It's taking that leap, like you said. It's about doing the things that you're
But
scared of.
But nobody wants to step out of their comfort zone because
No.
they're
Yeah.
comfortable. Like, "Oh, I have enough money to just pay my rent and this," but they're miserable every week. They're unhappy.
Yeah.
They barely can go on a vacation, you know?
No.
And it's not even just about the money. It's a big factor in our lives, but it's just doing things that make you smile.
Yeah.
Do you can do a lot of things that doesn't cost any money. There's things that you always wanted to do, man, start it, because you never know. Then you realize, like, someone who now, I know someone who a female actually, who's into crocheting. Yeah, it's kinda you think of, like, a grandma doing it, but now she's like a make you a full fucking blanket and loves doing it. She just picked it up
Yeah.
because she was having a hard time, and for some reason, that's what she picked up.
Yeah.
Now she's happy as shit. She's got friends buying sweaters and slippers and fuck you name it. But she was like, "Man, you asked me if I crocheted 6 months ago?" She'd laugh in your
Yeah.
face. So that's just an example. It could be
Have you
anything.
done that before? Have you tried crocheting? Yeah.
Crochet dude, that's hard as shit, man.
Man, it's pretty cool though. It is hard. I mean, I remember I went into like what is it? In high school where they do all that stuff like the sewing class and stuff. I went in the sewing class and I went in the cooking class because they had girls in there. That was the only reason why I went there. And I learned how to do a little bit, but the crocheting it is hard, man. It's like with the two sticks and you're like
But again, it's something. It's giving you something
yeah,
positive to focus on, whatever it is. Dance
yeah.
class, cooking class, you know what I mean? You wanna take a acting class,
But
whatever
what I was trying to
you know what I
get to
mean?
though is fidgeting, right? So it's about fidgeting and taking your mindset off, right? So what your friend is doing is exactly like what we spoke about earlier, right? And it's replacing the bad with the good.
Yeah, and it calms her down because she has bad high
There you
anxiety.
go.
But
Yeah.
that's something she found and picked up, and now she loves
Yeah.
it.
Good for her.
But it could be so that's what you guys need to do is find something that drives you. And the biggest thing and the most underrated is exercise, man.
Mhm.
Exercise. The gym, even if you hate the gym, hikes, rollerblade, fuck, you name just anything that keeps you active in some way.
Yeah.
Walking 40 minutes is the equivalent to taking one depression pill. Your body actually excretes protein molecules when you work out and fights depression. That's why it's the most underrated antidepressant in the world.
Yeah.
But it's not even for how to make you look, because that's just a bonus. If you want to raise your self confidence, man, you hit that gym 5 days a week for 6 months, you're a fucking whole new
Doesn't it
man.
help bring like oxygen to the brain or something like that? Yeah.
Everything, and it's not new to people to hear this, but it is massive.
Mhm.
You still see some videos on TikTok where there's a guy that was 400 pounds and decided he had a health scare and almost died, and now he's lost 300 pounds. He's a personal trainer, and his life's never been better.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing to get out of the rut that you're in, or that state, that mindset that you're in, is exercise, man. Get out and just go for a walk, fresh air. Start
Yeah.
there. And then you just, like I said, when you're in that pain, especially heartbreak, use that to fucking drive you. Because when I use that pain instead of going to the bar and drinking all the time and feeling sorry for myself, man, it was the best thing that ever happened to
Mhm.
me at the time. And if you're going through it now, it's terrible. You don't think it's the best thing because it's one of the worst
Yeah.
feelings you could ever experience is real
Yeah.
heartbreak. But in that is the biggest driver I've ever had. And now when I look back, I almost want to get heartbroken again because that push that it gave me to get to where I am even now because of that stemmed from that. Over 2 years ago was the last one. And now I'm doing all these things that I never thought I could do or get to, and then I just keep pushing, and it all stemmed from that pain. So if it wasn't for that relationship to end, I wouldn't have and do all the things I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And that's part of this healing journey that we're talking about tonight, is on the other end of those 5 stages, and when you're trying to come out the other end of the grieving and the heartache and the loss, is if it wasn't for these things to happen to you, you wouldn't have these things and you wouldn't have met that person. You know, if that relationship didn't end, you wouldn't have met that real love of your life. You thought they were the love of your life, but if they were, they would still be with you. They wouldn't go
Yeah,
anywhere
yeah.
because who's meant to be with you will be with you,
It's true.
right? But if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't find that person down the road. If you didn't get laid off, prime example, then you wouldn't have found your dream job, or you wouldn't be pushed into doing something you never even thought of doing, but because of that.
Yeah.
So you got to really take the pain that we go through and use that as a passport to push you to become better, not worse, because it is your biggest blessing and your biggest tool. Because I tell you, man, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Shitty at the time, but on the other end of it, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that pain, I wouldn't be sitting here tonight even and being able to do this. You know, and looking for you, for example, like you lost your fiance last year on Father's
Yeah,
Day,
of all days.
and but if it wasn't for that, and obviously you would do anything to have her
Oh,
here,
definitely. Yeah.
but but because of what's happened, the first thing you said to me on like this the day after is, I want to do a podcast and help people. And now look, we're episode 30 tonight,
Yeah, buddy. And we have helped
you
some
know,
people, you know.
and that's a situation that you had no control over, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you can't change that. But you decided that in your pain that you wanted to help somebody.
Yeah. It's true. True
So
story, man.
it's you just got to find the blessings in that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, they're everywhere. And like I said earlier, and I don't want to sound like an asshole.
I lose you.
Maybe. Did you? Can you hear me?
I lost
Oh
you.
no. Uh-oh. Well, looks like we're having technical difficulties or what?
That's just one of those things, computers, right?
Yeah, technology.
But yeah, you know, you just remember, guys, is you can't heal from what you hate.
Yeah.
And if you feel that you hate yourself, how can you heal? And if you hate somebody that's done you wrong or abused you or treated you like shit, you can't heal from that. And the big part of that is learning how to let go. You'll never forget it, whatever it is that you've gone through or you're going through, but you can heal from it,
Mm-hmm.
and learning to let that go, because you can't heal from what you hate. And when you're in that headspace that I was in for so many years, I hated myself. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like what I saw when I looked in the mirror. And I bet you most of you feel the same way, because that's your, you know, you have no self-confidence, no self-worth,
Yeah.
no no sense of wanting to live, because you hate yourself. Whether you blame yourself for things that wasn't your fault, or you blame yourself for things that were your fault. But you cannot move forward and you cannot heal from that
Definitely.
if you're holding on to hate, whether it's towards someone else or towards yourself. So you have to learn to let that go in order to progress in the present, like we were talking about earlier, in order to progress in your life, to make a better future, to give your kids and your wife and your family the old you back.
A brand new
You
one,
know,
man.
a brand new one. Like we
Brand new
said,
one.
you hold the pen.
Yeah.
You got thousands of empty pages to write in. Rewrite that story.
Well,
And if you're,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was just saying, like I want to point this out too, actually just popped in my head. A good success story is remember Diamond Dallas Page?
Yeah, the wrestler.
Yeah, and then he started that like workout plan
Yoga.
thing.
Yoga.
Was it yoga?
Yeah, it was yoga.
The diamond whatever thing? And
Yeah.
it's really hard? Is that really
Yeah, it's yoga.
crazy? And then there was that guy and he was way overweight, could barely walk, he was messed up, and he did it and he did it. Now this guy's walking, doing handstands. He's more fit than Diamond Dallas Page, man. And he's like helping. He's like part owner now with him in that company or something like that. And he goes and inspires people. That's a crazy. Coming from like being how heavy he was and just depressed, down, living probably really bad to now being super fit, help running a company and just killing it.
And someone like that tells me that they hit their rock bottom. They
Yeah.
hit their breaking point where he got up one day and he hated what he's seen in the mirror and he's like, I need to make a change.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what everyone listening has to do, whether it was your fault or not.
Yeah.
Is you have to make a change. It starts with you. Pick up that pen, rewrite the story,
Yeah.
and pave the path that you want to walk. So if you guys are going through it, heartbreak, suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety, man, like we feel your pain. 1,000,000%. But that's why we're doing what we're doing is to be there to at least try to give pointers and advice, only if you ask, to maybe help you find that light switch in that dark room. That being said, is do not be afraid, please, if you're listening to this, to reach out. Rawmindspodcast at gmail.com, raw.minds.podcast on TikTok. I even have my own separate fitness TikTok. You can message me on there too, Iron Menace Fitness. Anywhere, and leave your name, phone number if you wish. Completely anonymous. Myself, Eric, will talk to you, phone you. If you're local, we'll come have a coffee with you even. But don't be afraid to reach out, man. Please. If you feel that it's harder to not be here, I promise you that it's even harder if you're not here for everyone else around you that loves you. Because what you're feeling, and I know it does not feel like it, but it is temporary, and there are better days on the other end. But that's what we're here for, man. So, on a side note, check out my new fitness clothing line, ironmenace.com. Also, if you're new to the show, whatever platform you're listening to us on, we are on every other platform you can think of. Like and share, comment. We really appreciate all the feedback, the stories, even the cries for help. And it's truly heartbreaking, but we appreciate it, and we've been there. Just know that you're not alone. We're here for you. And on that note, on my end, if you can't find good people, be good people.
And I just want to say at the end of the day, it's up to you. It's really up to you. You're in control. You're the boss of your own world. It's up to you to make that change. Um, I mean, if you don't, then I guess you enjoy feeling like that every day and being like that every day, And if you're okay living like that, then fuck okay. But I mean, you are the change. You're the one that can change. And if you want it bad enough, you can change. I mean, there's what is this Buddha? This kid said he wanted to change his life or something. I forget the thing, but so the Buddha throws him in the water in a deep pool, and he's splashing, and he's trying to stay afloat, and trying to live where he had drowned, right? That is the type of mindset that you need. That's the mindset that you need to carry with you into all that. Anyways, I just want to leave you with that. So on that note, be good, or be good at it. Bye.